Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing more, girl, you make my heart beat.
And we are back.
Welcome back, you beautiful creatures.
Should have said welcome back, family. I forgot. Habits, habitual phrasing. That's okay, though. We'll run with it anyways. Today we're doing Friday content. This is going to be a quick episode because we have about an hour before Peaches has to leave. So there's not going to be banter or hanging out and playfulness. We're going to just jump right into this. For those of you who do not know, we do record these lives in front of our Patreon audience so that if we stop to read comments, it's from our Patreon. If you're not a member of our Patreon, you're really missing out. This article is from medium.com. It is called "Not Taking Things Personally is the Hardest Thing I've Ever Tried to Do, but it may be the most rewarding skill we can learn."
I've been in therapy for almost 2 decades. For about 1/3 of my life, I have sought help from others to heal my emotional wounds. I'm not weird or special. According to SAM HSA, over 50 million Americans received mental health treatment in 2020-something.
22. Hang on, I gotta know what this is. Substance use and mental health indicators. That's what came up when I clicked on that link. All right. Anyways,
Over the past 20 years, I learned how I integrated or failed to integrate things that have happened to me. I learned how my past shows up in the present to create more suffering than the average human should endure. I've learned that much of this suffering is caused by things I do to myself. During my education, a tiny book of wisdom, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, appeared on my radar.
that's your shit.
Yeah,
I know that you're getting excited when you read that.
I do. And he has what the 4 agreements are. That is to be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. This little tome contains the biggest bang for the buck out of all of the self-help books, articles, and podcasts I have consumed. It's simple, precise, and succinct.
Succinct.
Succinct? The fuck is English?
Words are stupid. Just move on, babe. You're cycling there. You're stuck. You need some ape?
Gosh.
Break that loop.
Yeah. My pathway quickly led to overwhelm, and I found myself looking for a simpler approach to healing. I often return to Ruiz's book of Tolic Wisdom. While I can follow a couple of agreements fairly closely, 2 of the 4 agreements, don't make assumptions and don't take anything personally, remain challenging.
Boy, do they. Boy, do they. That don't take things personally is the hardest of the 4 agreements for me.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's because I've had to, this is not really relevant to anything, but that's because I've had to do everything on my own for so fucking long that it is personal. Because every decision that I make and everything that happens in my realm can affect my life. And when you don't have anyone else and everything falls on your shoulders or lands at your feet, it's hard not to take everything personal because it fucking is. But as I've healed and I realize that I have a team and like I have a wonderful relationship with you, like everything has changed now. Mm-hmm. So that's where my defensiveness is still there with a whole lot of other things, but it's becoming less and less with you. So, but that is the hardest one for me.
Yeah. Continuing, though hard to implement, the agreements provide solutions to my problems. It is as if I can boil all my mental health work down to these 2 statements. Self-help is not self-centered. Not making assumptions about communicating with other people. If we don't understand something, we can ask for more information. We can learn to communicate better with our partners and loved ones to improve our relationships by reducing ambiguity. This is the universal truth and a common theme. All 4 agreements are found in one form or another in many thought systems and religions. They are mostly common sense, but just because something is obvious doesn't mean it's easy.
Facts.
Another common thing amongst belief systems, including the Tolic lineage to which Don Miguel Ruiz belongs, is the concept of interconnectedness. Rather than existing as rugged individuals, humans are part of everything. We breathe air, we exhale carbon dioxide, consume water, excrete urine, etc. We are connected to everything. The universe is a bunch of molecules that move around, change shape, form things, and dissolve back. This isn't speculative. But it is formidable to remember that we are not separate. Existing as separate individuals working within a collective is confusing.
It's not anymore.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Fucking cheat codes.
Modern evolution has increasingly led us to focus on individuality and away from the collective. But we would not have evolved this far if we did not consider the whole. Something changed in the recent past that is leading us apart. I believe this is why so many of us are suffering.
I actually agree with that.
I agree with that too. Okay, right? So just looking at a forest, all of the trees are interconnected. And I can't remember what we were watching, but it was talking about trees that grow in pairs. So when you're walking around a natural forest, not straight lines because deforestation, you're going to see clusters of trees that are in pairs. And those two trees have decided to live life together. If the redwood on the right side passes away, the left redwood is aware that it's no longer there.
Yeah. Well, and also they also said that if it gets some sort of sickness,
Yeah.
that it through mycelium,
They exchange nutrients.
right, and the other tree will start building antibodies to either help the other tree or to save itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at collectives like that, if there is a whole collective happening and then a single sapling is thrown into the mix and is not part of that collective, it's not going to fare as well as all the other ones. Or if something is cut off from that collective, it's not going to be receiving the nutrients it once was, so it's going to weaken. What's happening with humans. It's not about me or you. Focusing on ourselves, the individual, is increasingly common. This recent departure from a more collective evolutionary path is destructive and maladaptive. We would not have survived this long in isolation from one another. Self-centeredness explains why we struggle not to take things personally. The increasing focus on individuality is killing both the individual and the collective, yet it is so hard not to do.
The problem with that too, though, is for people like me and Sean, or Sean and I is the right way to say that. We go above and beyond to take care of people, right? That's just part of who we are. And he's now experiencing it on a level that I did because he's a business owner.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that the people around you are taken care of and are eating and all the things that are going on in their life is going well. And you give them money and you try to level them up. And at the end of the day, they're only there because there's a handout. When that hand stops feeding, you're the bad guy. Or you've been a bad guy the entire time because you're not doing as much as they want you to do for them, because a taker will always take. And the giver can only give so much.
Yeah.
That's where bridges get burned and people fucking do people dirty enough that people like Sean and I will eventually stop helping. I'm not doing shit for people anymore.
No.
Well, okay. That's a lie. There's shit. I am doing shit for some people.
I'm doing shit for people in my inner circle.
Right. Right. Exactly.
I'm not willing to stick my neck out for people who I know are going to cut me.
How was that for you coming in to all of this when you did with Hurricane Ian and seeing everything that I did and how fast those bridges got burned? Was that a wake up call for you?
We paid for a family to leave the state
For 2 weeks.
and stay in a hotel room.
Paid for all of it.
Yeah.
But it was more than that. Like we did a
Right.
lot.
No, I know we did more than that. That was just one of the things that came to my mind.
Right. But and all of the people that we did for, literally everyone, none of them are in our life anymore.
Barely received a thank you.
Most of them didn't even get us Christmas cards that year.
Yeah.
4 months later. It's fucking crazy, right? 2 months later, because the hurricane happened at the very end of September. It was the 29th,
Yeah.
28th, somewhere around there. So October, November, December, it was 3 months. We didn't even get a thank you, like a Christmas card. It's fucking crazy to me. Anyways.
Not taking anything personally starts with remembering we are less apart than we are together. The whole species is greater than the individual. We knew this once and we can again. Religions, communities, families, and even governments can help us rediscover our connections. That they have failed to do so in recent history does not mean we can't do it. The complex human nervous system is adapted to facilitate healthy societies and solve the cognitive dissonance between the individual and the community. We know how to balance those two inherently. All we have to do is remember. The hardest thing I'll ever do. My mental health education has taught me that I take things personally. I have discovered this causes nearly all my extra suffering. When I was young, taking things personally meant understanding that people wanted from me. As an adult, when I take things personally, I create more problems than I solve. Not only do I not feel more love, but I also push people away. Many of us do this. We commonly refer to it as people-pleasing or codependency. Why do we take things personally? Why are we the central characters in our life stories? Why can we not let go of it being about us? I can't answer these questions, but it doesn't make evolutionary sense. Humans evolved because we cooperated and focused on both ourselves and our group. Somehow, however, this awareness has been lost in recent times. This movement is probably a result of modernity, increasing group size, governmental structure, and shifting values. While the cause of our increasing individualism is unknown, what is clear is that increasing self-centeredness is killing us. We have shifted away from our evolutionary path. While our exceptional neurological gifts are beneficial, they are also costly. Our advancement is coupled with forgetting that we are connected to ourselves and the earth. No one knows exactly what happened, but many agree we have made a wrong turn. Perhaps my struggle with self-centeredness will help explain. My story, trauma, old beliefs, and maladaptive schema. I want to say shema, like shawarma. Okay. Like many, I am hypervigilant, empathetic, people-pleasing empath. Because I did not receive enough information from my parents and family of origin, I developed ways of elucidating my world. Can you Google that? I don't know what that means. Make something clear or explain. Okay, so trying to cope the best you can as a child.
Yep.
Continuing, I became a mind reader. I spent nearly all of my energy trying to be who I thought people wanted me to be. I believed love was unconditional and that I must behave this way to feel safe and loved.
All right, guys, as you know, there was a TikTok scare. We lost the app for a whole 12 hours and we have no idea what the future of the app looks like. And with that, we are very concerned about the loss of our following. We have amassed almost 3 million followers across that platform with all 4 of our accounts. And we are trying to push people to other social media platforms so that in the event that anything happens on one app, we have multiple other backup plans. If you want to make sure that you're not missing any content, we highly recommend that you check out our Patreon.
On Patreon, we have multiple tiers to choose from. Starting at $10, you begin to receive exclusive content. At $15 a month, you get access to our private Discord server where we've amassed an absolutely amazing community of supportive people. And beyond that, we have other tiers to check out, along with my 2 private women's group, if that's something you may be interested in.
Guys, on our $15 and higher tier, you have access to live recordings. We record all of our content 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, live in front of our Patreon audience, where they are able to chat with us while we're recording. They can see all the flirting, the outtakes, the hot topic conversations that never actually make it on the podcast. And it's really worth that aspect in itself. We have an After Dark where we sit down usually once a week and have a glass of bourbon, or in Peach's case, a glass of wine and a bowl of cheese. And we have a whole lot of fun conversations, karaoke in the Discord. We finish the lyrics. We literally just hang out and you guys get to hang out with us. There is a host of other perks, including Zoom calls that are coming for the ultimate tier. So that if you guys are having problems, you can talk to us. It also gives you the heads up on private meet and greets, because when we travel, we try to meet up with people on our Discord on a regular basis. There's a whole slew of other perks that come through Patreon. I highly recommend that you check it out.
The best way to support what we are doing is to share the content. The second best way is to check out our Patreon. Thank you guys for being here. As an adult, this belief system caused trouble in my relationships. I was the pursuer of my partner's retreat, driving them away. I became a doormat. I sacrificed my needs and wants and tried too hard to make my family happy. Eventually, I lost a sense of who I was. I learned most of this after my first wife left me for another man. In therapy, I realized that my contribution to that divorce was my loss of self. I became very uninteresting, a clingy, needy shell of a man with no redeeming qualities. Because I was an attentive father and nice husband, but I was miserable. Years of denying my needs made me exceptionally resentful of everyone, including the people I love the most. Although this behavior was protective when I was a child, it became maladaptive in adulthood. I learned that trying to meet other people's needs to make them love me was manipulative and unkind. Who was I to think I could read people's minds or to do so without their consent? How could I possibly know what people were thinking anyway? Wouldn't asking them be a better approach than thinking I was clairvoyant or omniscient?
Crazy. crazy that we've talked about all of this on the podcast over the last 3 years.
Yep. My fear of abandonment made me incredibly self-centered. The illusion of altruism didn't fool anyone but me. I forced my will on people without their consent, determined their thoughts, and based my behavior on those observations. And if that sounds crazy, well, there are a lot of crazies in the world. This article summarizes some people-pleasing statistics and suggests nearly half of us behave like this sometimes. So before judging me, look at those around you and yourself.
We'll read that when we're done.
Though I am on a healing path, I sometimes fall back on my old beliefs. When I experience conflict, disagreement, or somehow perceive that a loved one is disappointed in me, I can be triggered into automatic people-pleasing behavior. I take whatever they do or say personally and implement my old strategies based. I become afraid subconsciously that I will be abandoned or worse. I lose my sense of self, forget my needs, and do whatever good things I think will make the other person happy. I'm getting better, but I still miss the mark. The way out is in. Despite our belief that we are doing good things for our loved ones, people-pleasing behaviors can be manipulative and coercive. Coercive. The behavior also leads to loss of self, anxiety, and depression. Rather than protecting us from abandonment, it can be a cause, as my experience illustrates. The fears we are trying to avoid come true. Luckily, there is a simple solution, though it isn't easy. Many therapeutic strategies tell us that changing our minds is all we have to do. Or if we stop believing that our people-pleasing behaviors will protect us, we can start being more selfish. But if it were that easy, half the self-help industry would collapse overnight. Teasing apart of our old protective strategies for healthier ones is perhaps the most difficult thing one can do. I have been divorced, quit nicotine after a 30-year addiction, and given up a career to be a better parent. Like most of us, I had my fair share of challenges in my life. Sure, I have a ton of privilege, but I would estimate I am an average representative of human challenge. Changing beliefs is difficult for all of us. And it's easy to understand why. We spend most of our lives reinforcing old beliefs. During moments of childhood trauma, we adopt whatever strategy we can think of quickly to protect ourselves. These strategies don't have to make sense, they only have to reduce the pain. A classic example is the sad clown who uses humor to escape bullying or feel safe in their family home. They grow up making people laugh, but never address the trauma inside. They are depressed when they are alone, but happy in public. They believe they have to make people laugh to be loved. The problem is we generate mounds of evidence over time. Thousands of instances where we insert the maladaptive behavior and get the desired result. It is a massively repetitive cycle of fear leading to maladaptive behaviors leading to safety. That strengthens with each iteration. We not only believe the belief works, but we feel empowered. Even when the cycle doesn't work, we can use this power to convince ourselves that it did. The fear is so strong that we double down on the only strategy we have. The bottom line is that maladaptive schemas, like people-pleasing, are incredibly hard to change because we believe they keep us safe. Shifting from involuntary to intentional. Our belief systems are so ingrained that they are automatic. When a fearful event or trigger happens, the behavior is implemented more quickly than we perceive. This mechanical response is powerful, protective, and penetrative. We are miles down the path of people-pleasing before we realize it. We don't feel the fear, but we react automatically. Not being afraid, of course, was the original point in building the belief. We repeat the behaviors because they have helped in the past. The first step is learning to see what is happening. Viktor Frankl describes this most eloquently in his oft-quoted Man's Search for Meaning.
That book is on our recommended reading list, guys. I highly, highly recommend that you read that book.
Between stimulus and response, there is space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. I can't love this quote enough. Frankl describes what I have learned from meditation, awareness, and a feeling of connectedness with the world. The stimulus is a fear or trigger. The response is our choice. Realizing that our response is a choice is perhaps the most powerful healing. What follows is recognition of our responses. Why do we react the way that we do? Have we ever even noticed? We assumed it's a result of some external force. It is someone else's fault. In truth, the reaction belongs to us and is under our purview. It may not be under our control, but we are the only ones who can do anything about it. We can shift from involuntary automatic response to a voluntary choice. The key is to learn to recognize what is happening, learn a new skill set, and apply the new strategy repeatedly. Simply shifting from being a victim of our circumstances to the leader of our experience can be revolutionary. A solution that is working for me. Volition, intention, attention, direction. Honing our awareness is necessary to heal ourselves and form new beliefs. We used to do this automatically, but the skill has been lost as an artifact of modernity. Fuck. Technology increases our efficiency, but it also promotes apathy. We no longer need to pay attention. As more and more of our daily needs were met, we stopped paying attention altogether.
You know that they've actually done studies that say the part of our brain that does socialization is atrophying.
Yeah.
It's becoming weaker. People are failing to read body language. They can't read the room anymore. They struggle with in-person communication. Some of it could be autism, but a lot of the times there's people that struggle with eye contact and communicating. There's a whole lot of things that are decreasing because of that. This is one of those articles that I agree with so much that like I haven't had to jump in and say shit the entire time.
Did you hear, I think this is happening in Japan, maybe in China. There are people, oh gosh, there's a term for it. They will live in their room for months or years on end. I read an article where a guy, his 10-year high school reunion was coming up and he hadn't left his room in 10 years. Like his mother would bring him food. He went to the bathroom in his bedroom, all of those kinds of things. And he said, I didn't even realize how long it had been until I got the invitation for my 10-year high school reunion. And I'm too ashamed to show up because I've done nothing with myself.
Insane.
Continuing.
Yep.
The phrase pay attention suggests that we actively spend our energy. This makes sense because we focus our thinking on the targets of interest. But it can also suggest that our attention is budgeted and decided. Attention, then, can be conscious or subconscious. Consider when you arrive at your destination after a long drive, having forgotten parts of the journey. Habitual skills like driving may become so automatic that we don't need to pay as much attention. We do lots of things using this kind of passive attention, like inserting our old beliefs or choosing how we want to react.
Living life on autopilot.
I'm a good driver.
Way better than I am.
I'm a very safe driver. And there are times where I am so lost in my own thoughts, or like sometimes like even in a meditative state, that, oh, I'm pulling up to the house.
How did I get here?
Did I use my turn signal every time I changed lanes? Because I don't remember driving.
Right.
Like,
you're on autopilot.
Yeah. Continuing, awareness and meditation. Becoming aware of our attention is the first critical step. There are likely many ways to accomplish this, but I only know how I have done it. A combination of therapy and meditation worked for me. Therapy helped me understand how my past relates to my beliefs, but others may already understand these things. Similarly,
you nail that every time. I can't say that word.
Similarly.
I can't say it. Like, not even looking at it, I can't say it.
My lips aren't touching when I say that word, so I feel like it's not right.
Sounds way better than when I do it.
Mindfulness meditation has taught me how to take the observer perspective and control my attention. Others may find their way to these abilities via different routes. Meditation teaches us to use our awareness. Meditation is the practice, like paying attention to scales on a violin, that facilitates daily mindfulness like playing a concert. We meditate so that we can be aware of what's happening in our daily lives. Meditation requires discipline, repetition, and habitual habits. Meditation is also not what most people think. Many believe meditation requires a quiet mind, a sense of calm, chanting, or being completely isolated. In truth, Tibetan meditation is simply about awareness. Meditation and mindfulness can be defined in the Tibetan sense as learning to bring our attention to the present moment and simply seeing what arises without bias or judgment. There are a few key words in the definition above that deserves more explanation. Learning implies a process rather than a destination. Even old monks are still learning to meditate. There is no accumulation, no badges to be earned, and no levels to reach. Each meditation is an individual experience.
Each meditation. Not meditation, each meditation. What did they say at the first ceremony that we were in? Isha said that every moment that you do something, it's the first time you've ever done it.
Yes.
In that moment. So you live life that way, to be truly present. The past doesn't exist in them anymore, and the future isn't here yet. And if you want peace and happiness, you have to live right now, because this is what matters.
The present moment implies staying in the moment. Humans tend to worry about the past, depression, or the future, anxiety. Mindfulness suggests that those periods do not exist and that only this moment is real. Meditation teaches you to be in the moment, and being in the moment helps you catch yourself when triggered. Simply seeing what arises tells us that there is no manipulation. We aren't trying to be quiet or calm or enlightened. We aren't trying to do anything. We are simply being, sitting, and observing. Without judgment or bias is an interesting part of the definition. Like I said before, there is no leveling up. There is no goal to reach. A meditation session cannot be good or bad. We are not advanced or beginner meditators. Simply meditation is all there is. Letting go and placing value on meditating is critical. Attention and mindfulness. During sitting meditation, we sit and pay attention to our breath or some other target. The breath is an excellent target to place our attention. When we become aware that our attention has drifted away from the breath, we note thinking and return to paying attention to the breath. That's it. It is that simple. Practicing meditation makes it easier to be mindful in our daily lives. Mindfulness allows us to be more present and aware of our place in the moment. Being aware of the present moment means we can observe ourselves. This is how we learn to find the moment Viktor Frankl refers to, the moment between the trigger, stimulus, and our maladaptive reaction, response. Learning to observe this pause means we have developed the power to choose. Freedom might be defined as the power to choose how we react. This could be the secret to life. It is most certainly a pathway to healing. It is how we take control of our reactions and become more peaceful. Making real and lasting change. Having agency in our human experience transforms us from a passive existence to active awareness. The only way to change our limiting beliefs is to replace them with better systems. This involves breaking the cycle of fear, leading to maladaptive behaviors that leads to safety. Some self-help gurus tell us to have courage. Some say we can do something different. Others say we can find safety in other ways. Maybe if we could change our thoughts, we would feel better. I haven't been able to do most of those things. Potential solutions include cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure therapy, desensitizing, and somatic healing. I have tried most of them with less than satisfying results. Undoing the agreements. Our limiting beliefs are agreements we made within ourselves. In the sad clown example, the clown agreed that they must make people laugh to be loved. Doesn't that sound horrible? Why would a person make that sort of agreement? Simple, to protect themselves. Learning to break an agreement you think has worked for most of your life is challenging, to say the least. It might be harder than breaking an addiction to nicotine. Trying something new is risky, and the fear of being unloved, abandoned, or isolated has real and evolutionary origins. We are adapted to belonging to groups. Other agreements and beliefs have similar power to help or hinder our needs. Changing beliefs, however, is scary. Learning to override the powerful impulse to protect ourselves sounds impossible. Our only hope is to develop and trust a powerful system. I learned to meditate when I became a certified mindfulness meditation instructor. This course illuminated where I was wrong about meditation, and a passive side effect was learning to become aware. Though it wasn't my intention, I figured out what Viktor Frankl meant. After a short period of regular meditation practice, I could see myself in action. I felt the pause and gained the ability to observe myself in action. Coupled with the years of therapy and the knowledge of my past trauma, the ability to witness, to take the observer perspective, myself has been a game changer. Admittedly, I am in the earliest stages of what comes next, but I am too excited not to share.
I don't know how you were able to do that.
What do you mean?
You read that entire sentence with me removing it from the screen and having to find it. So it was like bloop, 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 bloop,
Yeah.
bloop, bloop, bloop. And you got it all until you got to non-judgmental.
Yeah, I mixed the words.
That was good though.
Thank you. My newfound ability to see myself in action, honed by regular, non-judgmental meditation practice and informed by years of healing work, has created a real opportunity. Once I realized I had this ability, however, I didn't know what to do next. Enter the Tolix and Don Miguel Ruiz. Though I developed an ability to pause, I did not know what to do next. Hell, I hadn't intended on learning this skill. As a result, I didn't know what to do during the pause. Luckily, my healing journey led me multiple times to the 4 agreements. As I learned more about trauma and healing, I realized I spent too much time intellectually analyzing myself and too little time trying to change. I knew what my issues were, but I couldn't move forward into doing something about them. Even with the power to implement change, I was unable. What helped more than anything was simplification. I have learned that the most obvious and basic solutions to a problem is often the correct one. The parsimony of the 4 agreements can't be understated. There are only 4 things to do. Oh, I do that. The children will sit there and list out a whole bunch of things. I have to do this and I have to do that and that and this and that. I'm like, that's only 5 things. You only have to do 5 things. When I would get in my thought patterns of overwhelmed, especially when it came to cleaning the house, I would get so overwhelmed because the house is chaotic. I'm chaotic. I don't know where to start, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is and doom scroll. I started breaking it down to I have to clean our bedroom, which is linked with our bathroom. That's one thing. The living room, the foyer, the kitchen and the back whiskey room, and the kids' room and the bathroom. That's only 5 places. That's 5 things that I have to clean. Instead of thinking I have to scrub the toilet, scrub the bathtub, sweep under the kitchen table, get underneath the couches with the vacuum. I have to move the dogs' beds. When you simplify things, like he said, simplification of all of it, it makes it so much easier to handle life. Continuing?
Yep.
Like I said, I found always do your best and be impeccable with your word less challenging than the other 2. I often fail to meet the agreements, but I more easily adhere to these 2 regarding my actions and speech. You may find some agreements easier than others. While don't make assumptions and don't take anything personally are related, I found the latter more challenging. Not making assumptions is about communication. Speaking and listening effectively is crucial, but difficult. I learned a lot about communicating from Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication. Not making assumption is part of not taking anything personally. Not taking things personally. When we take things personally, we assume we know what the other person intends, but almost always we don't. Without communicating with people, we make up our own minds, determine our reality, and decide what the other person feels or means. Following this method, it is impossible to be accurate. It's something humans can't do. We aren't mind readers. When we don't take things personally, we free ourselves from the responsibility to monitor other people. For people pleasers, we eliminate the need to know the other person's needs because it isn't our responsibility. We free ourselves of hypervigilance. Instead of being responsible for others' feelings, we let them care for themselves. If we want to help, we communicate. We don't make assumptions. We ask questions. We stop filling in the blanks. To stop taking things personally, we must accept that we can't control other people's emotions and actions. Until we realize we only control our choices, there can be no healing. Until we accept that we are not the center of the universe, we will remain in a prison of our own creation. Before we can heal, we must let go. Letting go. Not taking things personally is all about letting go. We think we can do these things, but we can't. We believe so strongly in our ability to read minds, predict moods, and sense emotions that it's almost impossible to let go. There's a meme from Finding Nemo interjected, and I'm going to do my best to do Marlin. Are we ready? You think you can do these things, but you just can't, Nemo. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh, did you just hear my tummy?
I did. I downloaded that nonviolent communication book.
Yeah. Continuing. Changing limiting beliefs is like quitting any other addiction, possibly even harder because you believe this addiction keeps you safe. Maybe learning new beliefs is like training wheels on a bicycle. Before you knew how to balance, the training wheels kept you from falling over. But as you learned to ride, you no longer needed assistance. If you believe strongly that the wheels keep you up, taking them off would be incredibly difficult. You may even give up altogether. Learning to let go of old habits that worked in the past has no true analog. This is a unique thing, which contributes to how hard it is to do. This process isn't exactly about learning something new. It is more like forgetting something that used to be important. It's about trust. Letting go is about learning to trust yourself and the world. We have to find faith and believe that not taking things personally will not create problems. Taking things personally worked when we were young because we believed it protected us from fear. Changing our behavior means letting go of believing in our old ways. This is not easy, but is required to create real change. I want to pause real quick and just interject. I agree with what he just said. Can you scroll up a little bit? We have to find faith and believe that not taking things personally will not create problems. They shouldn't. If you are with somebody who drops hints, I'm fine, and then you don't take that personally, and then 4 hours later, that person creates an argument because you didn't take it personally. They were trying to manipulate you in the moment to try and get what they wanted from the situation, and you shut that shit down because what you are going through is not my problem. We can have a conversation about it, but I'm not going to sit here and try to read your mind.
That's it.
Okay.
I hate that shit.
Me too. Summary. Incorporating the 4 agreements and changing limiting beliefs are among the most difficult things a human can endeavor to do. They are also part of the pathway towards healing. If we become aware of our limiting beliefs, we create the opportunity to observe our behaviors. We can then learn to trust that we no longer need to protect ourselves from our old fears. This trust allows us to feel safe when not taking things personally. The more we implement new choices, the more confident we become. Not taking anything personally might be the strongest and most difficult habit a human can form. Doing so will relieve us of excess suffering and pain, connect us more closely with our families and environments, and facilitate a life of human flourishing. I continue to take things personally, but I do it less and less. I hope you can be similarly victorious in your endeavors. If more of us learn to not take things personally, it would be easier to change the world.
That was a long one.
That was a long one.
Do we want to look at this self-distributed people, whatever this is?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's a whole ass thing. I don't want to get into that either. No, Bubba, come on. All right, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, I think that when we come back and do Wednesday episodes, I think that we should just do 2 podcast episodes. I think because we're so behind on emails, I think that we can just do emails for a while and not have to do these articles because there's a lot of just sitting here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I know that people enjoy these, so maybe we throw these in as like sprinkle them as content, but maybe just not do them as every Friday content.
Okay.
And give like an email read for a month of every episode we do is just emails.
Okay.
Are you okay with that? On days that we don't feel like doing emails, we'll find an article, but plan to do emails kind of thing.
I feel like that's just 2 podcast episodes then.
Doesn't matter. It could be.
Okay.
We can look at it that way. Yeah, I think that people are here more for the email content than this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And though normally there are conversations that stem from those kind of articles, today there was nothing. I feel like we just agreed with everything, so we sat here in silence.
I think it was still good information.
What do you guys think in the chat?
I learned things about myself in that article.
Yeah, like what?
I would have to look at it again to tell you exactly what it was, but there's just a new enlightenment in myself, a better understanding of why I do things the way that I do.
I see that Taylor's in the chat. Alice was in here earlier asking about selling off all her possessions and living in her car. And we're going to put you 2 in contact. I don't know if she's still in the chat or not, but I enjoyed it. Okay, so I mean, people still enjoy the content. I guess it doesn't really matter either way what we do, as long as we're creating content, people are happy about it.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're really helping people. And like, I don't want to do the same thing every time. Right. But we can only have the same conversations that we've already had on the podcast about emotional cheating and the dating scene and all the conversations that we've already done over and over again over the last 3 years. Like, I don't want to keep doing that because I feel like it's just redundant at this point, especially if people can just go back and fucking watch it. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, so there is definitely a need to continue to create content that is refreshing or is fresh for people who are doing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Demetra just bought the 4 agreements.
I love that.
We do have an episode that we will be going live on Friday, guys, for a bonus cast that we'll be doing with Derek. He was somebody that came into he was at the last ayahuasca ceremony that we did, and he's a big part of the group that facilitates these things. And he wasn't at the first one we did.
No, he
and,
wasn't.
And I didn't know who he was. And the reason why he wasn't there is because he had just went to the jungle to do the diet.
Yeah, for 30 days.
Yeah. So we'll have to have a conversation with him about what that looked like and how all that went down, and be a lot of good conversations there. But Angelique said, I think with the topic, it was a great reminder for those that have read the book and encourage more to read it. Yeah, that works. Tara said, I think I missed the last Ultimate shirt. Maybe it went out in April. And it ended on April 15th. If you missed it, you missed it. It's gone. But all right, babe, let's wrap up. You got to go get the kids in 20 minutes. And I got to be honest, I'm done sitting here. I don't want to sit here anymore.
Okay.
So guys, thanks for tuning in. If you guys will be here on Friday, we will see you then. And we made this for you. We hope you enjoy it. You are the author of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.